I got home at last and found the door was locked. Mr. Brunner came out and told me that both Mama and Papa were all right and had gone in search of me. Ethel Goldstein invited me into her house to wait there, but I thought I had better go down to Bank Street to find them, as they would be worried stiff. I found them, first Papa and then Mama, and believe me, it was good to see them again. Mama was worried stiff that I had been killed.
And when the water receded, we came down, and my father wasn't there yet. When he came home, he went directly to our house, and no one was there, and he thought we had all perished and been washed away, and came to my grandfather's house to see if they were there, and found us all safe and sound. And my most vivid memory is, as a little child, going and seeing my father sitting on a kitchen chair, just sobbing, you know, with relief that we were all safe.
Mr. Moffat, at whose home we were boarding, he cranked up his old Ford, and he took us to try to find out what had happened, and one way or another, we finally managed to get down to Quaker Hill, where my home was, and we discovered that my father was safe.
All of a sudden, I heard my father walk into school. Well, he was working at the submarine base in Groton, and he walked because he tried to drive, and a tree fell in front of him, so he had to leave the truck that he had. And he walked from the submarine base. He arrived at the school at about 3 o'clock in the morning. He said to me, he said, you know, you want to go home or do you want to stay? And by this time, the moon had come out. And everything had calmed down, the moon had come out. So I said, sure, let's go. And the thing that really amuses me, and it did at the time, we both walked into the yard at our house. When we got there, we noticed we had a German Shepherd, and he had a chain. He was chained, excuse me, to his house, and it was a good sized one. Well, the house was gone, the dog was gone, and my father said to me, I said, Dad, the dog is gone. And about that time, we heard him barking. He was about a quarter mile from the house down into a hayloft, still chained to the house, down there barking when he saw us. So we went down there and we took him off his chain, and he jumped on my father and I, licking our face. He was never so happy to see anybody.
What a wild ride that must have been.
Must have been some ride. Doghouse tumbling in the wind with a dog chained to it.
I don't know where he found the mattress, but he had to walk almost 2 blocks before he hit the water. So on his way down somewhere, I'm sure he found a mattress. He floated down Bentley Avenue on this mattress to Alma's house, just to make sure she was okay, and then he paddled back home. He later married her.
In the distance, we saw land, okay? And we kind of paddled to it. That was Barn Island, okay? We paddled towards it on the raft, okay? And when we got there, everybody got off, and when the last person got off, the raft split right in half. Unbelievable. So we stayed there all night, and of course we were dirty and wet and messy. And the next morning, they found a bureau that had been on the floor with us that nobody, I don't remember seeing it, I really don't. But they took the mirror that was on the bureau and they flashed it to the fishing boat, and that's when we were rescued. My father was walking from Liberty Street up to Rossi Avenue, where he had a great big garden, and he met one of our neighbors, and the man told him that the Fort Road had been wiped out and everybody on the road had died, and my father said, how can that be? My daughter's with Jeff Moore's family. So he just assumed I was dead, and he went flying back home, poor man. Then Dr. Anderson and Jim Nestor drove me back to my house on Liberty Street in Pawcatuck. When I got to the house, there was a crowd of people around, you know, in the front. And when I got out of the car, everybody started crying. And of course I was crying, I was in an emotional state. And my sister Nikki came over and she says, please pull yourself together because Mom and Dad are so distraught, please. So I went into the house, and you can imagine, you just can't imagine the reception I got. My poor mother and father, my heart aches for what they went through that day, believe me.